Thanks friends for coming back to the Myths and Stories from Africa channel once again. We are glad to continue to make your day with educative as well as moral stories from our dear continent as usual. Without waste of time, let's get down to the next part of the Mad Woman story. In part 2 of this story, Thandeka had her path crossed with that of a good-hearted young man who decided to help her in whatever way he could. This was just as she had continued to be taken advantage of by people who simply wanted to use her body to satisfy their own evil cravings. However, with the divine intervention of God through this young man named Lethabo and his pastor, Thandeka's challenges gradually took a different direction as she started fighting back against her situation without even knowing it. She got to the extent of disarming her major enemy, Sangoma Katlego, the herbalist, when next he came to take advantage of her body the way he had done sometimes back. She fought with him until his charmed necklace and amulet got cut in the uncompleted building she was staying in at night. Very importantly for her, he could not immediately recover the cut items as a result of the fact that she was shouting so loud at him that he just had to escape from the scene before people will discover what was going on there. What was the implication of that fight and loss of the charmed necklace and amulet? What happened to them? How did that affect the Sangoma? How did that fight affect Thandeka physically and spiritually? What did she do with the broken charmed necklace and amulet? What were the consequences of her actions? Without further waste of time, let's dive into the continuation of this thrilling and educative story. Sangoma Katlego, the herbalist, had lost so much blood from the bleeding in his hand and neck that he had to treat that immediately, or else he would suffer more repercussions spiritually as well as physically. Mfo, whom he had left in his house before the adventure, was watching him carefully, knowing that he must have been in some trouble but pretended to be asleep. She noticed the missing necklace, amulets, and the blood he was trying to treat. She saw the pain on his face as he went about his treatment. She also noticed how, unlike him, he was moving very weakly. She realized that he had lost some power. Okay, the necklace and amulet are missing. He had never been without them. Something told her he is in a weak position to defend himself right now. She, however, decided to be more patient so as to confirm her suspicions. He later managed to come to bed and lie down without harassing her like he used to do. This is surely a serious case. Who had he fought with that resulted in such bleeding on his body? What happened to his powerful necklace and amulet? Where exactly is he coming from and what led to his present state? These were the thoughts going through her mind as she stayed in bed pretending to be asleep. She realized that this is the opportunity she had been waiting for in order to take vengeance on this wicked herbalist. She got out of the bed, went to the kitchen and prepared his beloved food for him, but also added some powder she had collected from the herbal hut and mixed with some rat poison powder. She allowed the food to warm together properly before going to wake him up to eat his supper in a very friendly manner like a good wife. The Sangoma was so happy with the scent of the tasty food placed before him. He ate the whole food in a hurry and happily went back to sleep in peace. His very last sleep, as it turned out to be. He never woke up from it. Mfo wisely moved out of the house very late that night and returned to her house. What happened to Thandeka after the escape of the Sangoma? She was so angry that she packed the herbalist's necklace pieces, bones and amulet and threw them away onto the street to go with their owner. As if by order, rain suddenly dropped in a heavy downpour just a few minutes after she threw out the evil pieces and washed them in different directions. This same rain prevented her from getting any visitors that night. She was very cold but slept without any harassment and drinks. As she slept, she dreamt of a whole lot of things, starting from her fight with the Sangoma, his torn necklace and amulet, the visit of Lethabo, her beneficiary, the sweet-scenting food he had brought for her. Then somehow in her dreams, she saw Lethabo in a church praying with someone, then her usual drink companions running away from her, then saw herself running away from someone with a piece of bread in her hands. It did not stop there. She saw children throwing things at her as she ran after them. Then she saw a man sitting with her in front of a house. She suddenly woke up from her sleep. She looked around her and got confused. Where is she? What happened? Whose building is this? Why is she not at home? Who or what tore her clothes? She was so confused that she thought this was a nightmare and decided to force herself back to sleep. Luckily for her, the sweet music of the rain helped her to fall asleep once again. Dear friends, we have come to the end of part 3 of this very thrilling story. We hope you enjoyed it from the beginning so far. If you did, please come back for continuation in part 4, which is just some hours away. In between, please do us a simple favor by liking, sharing and subscribing to this channel now. It costs you nothing but helps us a great deal in our aspiration to keep you well entertained and in growing the channel on YouTube. Thanks for visiting the Myths and Stories from Africa channel at Myth Stories from Africa.